On The Young and the Restless, tomorrow, Monday, May 26, 2025, Claire gets some insight from Holden, while Kyle meets with Audra. We've got the photo spoilers of what's coming up. Claire is happy to meet with Kyle, thinking they have a date, but he needs to put her on hold while he meets with Audra instead. While Kyle meets with Audra, an irritated Claire has a Vesper with Holden. Does he let some truth bombs drop? Audra can't help herself, but gets some digs into everyone in her fan club. Claire's concerns for Kyle's involvement with Audra aren't eased, as Holden tries to get his hooks into Audra. Amanda isn't happy that Phyllis wants to get her friend to do her a favor and set up a meeting with her boss. Phyllis tries to explain why it's so important to her to meet with Aristotle Dumis. Will Amanda agree to help her friend? Amanda makes sure Phyllis is out of earshot before calling Aristotle Dumis. Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel, Pulse Canvas. It's me, Julie, here. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Keep watching, so let's dive into today's video. The Young and the Restless spoilers indicate that fans are looking forward to Aristotle Dumis finally coming out from the shadows. Who is he, and what's his endgame? It's been mentioned multiple times that Dumas is using a fake name, so he clearly has some sort of ties to Genoa City, and it's probable that Billy Flynn will play the character since his debut is looming on the show. With that said, below are 3 shocking twists that could unfold once Dumas reveals himself. While Lily Winters, Divin Hamilton Winters, and Nate Hastings believe that Dumas is after their family legacy, it's clear that his target is Victor Newman. There's been word of Dumas wanting to take over Chancellor, which would be a major coup. However, what if he completely swerves everyone and successfully takes over Newman Enterprises? After all, Victor is far too preoccupied with revenge plans for the Abbotts to focus on anything else. Dumas is slated to send a cryptic message to Genoa City during Nicky Newman's big birthday bash this coming Friday, May 30. Could it be how he skipped over the idea of running Chancellor and gone straight for what would hit Victor the most, snagging Newman Enterprises out from under him? 2. Gets involved with Phyllis Summers. Let's face it, Phyllis Summers could use a romance right about now, and Aristotle Dumis might just be the perfect person to sweep her off her feet. He's mysterious, he's a billionaire, and whether or not Billy Flynn is playing the character, he'll be handsome and likely charming. Phyllis has had some terrible luck as of late, both in love and in life overall, so a nice and spicy love story is exactly what the doctor ordered, right? There's been widespread speculation that Dumas is Kane Ashby, and that Billy Flynn could be the character recast. People have also speculated that Dumas is actually a woman, someone like Jill Abbott. Even Victor at one point thought Dumas could be Tucker McCall. With that said, what if Dumas has a connection to GC, but has yet to be introduced on the canvas, like he's a long-lost son of Tucker's, or Victor's for that matter? Maybe he's an unknown Abbott, which is why he's targeting Victor. The Young and the Restless spoilers indicate some fun news for the week of May 26 to 30, as Tracy Abbott and her sister Ashley Abbott return to town. Diane Abbott is super nervous about all this as she's afraid to face the Abbott sisters' backlash regarding the mansion renovations. Diane spearheaded the entire project, and while Jack Abbott and Kyle Abbott are fans, Billy Abbott was a bit harsh about it all. As such, Diane is sensitive to the topic. Both Ashley and Tracy will probably like the update, but even more exciting than Ashley throwing digs Diane's way, and all the drama that comes with sister and sister-in-law dynamics, is that Ashley will have a surprising announcement during the Thursday, May 29 episode. She'll be telling her brother all about her shocking news, so what could this be about? Surely, it's more fascinating than something Abbott-related, unless Ashley has a new fragrance idea she's been working out in the lab. Then again, as she and Tracy were in NYC, maybe Ashley had a fun romance that she wants to share with Jack. As her sister was with her during her recent New York City trip, Tracy may already be in the loop. and Ashley may want to update their brother. There's nothing like a mysterious new man entering the canvas to stir the pot in the Abbott family, although there is a good possibility that whoever Ashley is dating is nice, sweet, and normal. After what the family had to go through with Tracy's last boyfriend, Martin Laurent, who everyone thought was Alan Laurent, the last thing any of them wants is another sociopath. Still, what if this person is someone less mysterious and more familiar to the family and why and our viewers? Could it be a character that has already graced the canvas? After all, Cole Howard was a romance from Victoria Newman's past, and their romantic reunion worked out very well. The Young and the Restless spoilers imply that Ashley deserves a little love in her life after everything she's been through. Still, could this new romance cause friction between her and Tracy? Michael Baldwin faces a nearly impossible struggle on The Young and the Restless. Torn between loyalty and peace, he tries to stop the Newman-Abbott war from destroying both families. His inner battle drives some of the show's most intense drama. Michael Baldwin is stuck in a brutal tug-of-war between the Newmans and the Abbotts. His goal is to prevent the feud from spiraling out of control. But both sides push hard, demanding his loyalty. Michael's role as peacekeeper feels like walking a tightrope with no safety net. The deeper the conflict grows, the harder it gets for him to keep everyone in check. Christian J. LeBlanc reveals Michael feels pressure from all sides. Victor Newman expects complete loyalty, but the Abbotts pull him another way. Michael tries to redirect Victor's rage, but the rivalry is too deep-rooted to ignore. This constant tug strains Michael's resolve and tests his limits. Every conversation pushes him closer to the edge, making his job nearly impossible. Michael's struggle isn't just about family rivalry, it's personal. His loyalty to Victor comes from a deep need for acceptance and belonging. But this devotion clashes with his desire for peace. The stress weighs on him heavily as he tries to be the voice of reason in chaos. The emotional battle makes Michael's fight far more than just a business feud. It's about family, trust, and survival. Michael's struggle will only grow tougher as The Young and the Restless storyline unfolds. With the war heating up, he faces harder choices and bigger risks. Christian J. LeBlanc teases more surprises and drama ahead. Michael's role as mediator is far from over, and fans can expect intense moments as he fights to hold his world together. Michael Baldwin's struggle to keep peace amid chaos keeps The Young and the Restless gripping. For the latest soap updates and behind-the-scenes insights, visit Soap Opera Daily. Thanks for reading. We knew Michael Baldwin quitting his job as Victor Newman's attorney on The Young and the Restless was happening. We knew there'd be passionate yelling and threats. But Eric Braeden gave us a performance today that surprised Michael and us. And that's why he's Soap Central's Performer of the Week for my and our Victor Newman is a clever man. He needed only to look at Michael Baldwin's body language to see that something was amiss. After exchanging a few pleasantries, Victor surmised that Michael was there to quit. We've seen Victor decimate his enemies, trash portraits of his competitors, and threaten to break people. However, Braeden kept us off guard, as Victor did Michael, by not immediately flying into a rage. Lulled into a false sense of relief, Michael thought this wasn't going to be as hard as he thought it would be. He was so relieved of that sensation. Braeden had Victor alternate between logic and passion when giving reasons for Michael to stay. Forget about Jack Abbott and Abbott. Victor scoffed, what about Dumas and his threat to Nikki and Chancellor Industries? As Victor spoke, keeping his emotions mostly in check, it was his eyes that told the story. The Daytime Emmy winner Braeden reminded viewers why Victor Newman is one of soap opera's most complex characters, as the mogul used both facts and wild speculation as to why Michael was doing what he was doing. Family does not abandon family, Victor snarled, but Braden's eyes showed his vulnerability. If only for a second each time, there were glimpses of hurt and fear. Victor's words affected Michael, but he remained firm in his decision to leave. Braden's brilliance subtly showed the viewer Victor's pain. After telling Victor that he was going several times, Michael then asked Victor to let him go. This was when Braden had Victor surprise us the most. We expected demands, blackmail, bribery, and even threats to follow. Michael walked out just as Nikki came home to give Victor some much-needed support. Victor shocked us by appearing to be resigned that Michael had, well, resigned. I don't want to discuss it. Don't ever mention Michael Baldwin's name again, a wounded Victor told his wife. It was clear within that moment that just as Michael had regarded Victor as a father, Victor, too, had come to see Michael as a third son. Michael's leaving hasn't just left Victor without an attorney. It's left him deeply vulnerable. Bravo to Braden for giving another compelling performance. Both Daniel and Phyllis could rely on Lucy right now. They're lost and crumbling before our eyes on the young and the restless. It's high time for Lucy to return to Genoa City. Lucy returned in February 2023. She wanted her parents, Daniel and Heather, to get back together. Unfortunately, Heather died in a gruesome murder for which Sharon was charged. But it was Ian and Jordan who were responsible for Heather's murder. Lucy left Genoa City because she couldn't stand the pain that her mother's death caused. She couldn't understand why anyone would want to kill her mom. Daniel has felt lost ever since Heather died. He's trying to find himself again. He's not interested in working in the corporate world with his mother. Rather, Daniel wants to go back to playing guitar and wants Tessa's assistance. But what we would like to see is Daniel bonding with his daughter over their shared gift of music. It would be a great way for O'Brien to share her musical talent on the show, since she's a musician in real life. Emory. Lily Brooks O'Brien celebrated a big moment. Lucy lost her mother. She should be with her grandmother instead of away at school. Like Daniel, Phyllis has been feeling lost. She's been throwing herself into her work, especially after her kidnapping. Lucy should return to help Phyllis overcome her mental problems. There's no one better than her own granddaughter, whom she loves more than anything else. Phyllis isn't a damsel in distress who needs Nick's assistance. This would be an interesting storyline to explore. It would allow this family to heal their trauma while supporting one another. Plus, now is the perfect time since soaps tend to focus on the younger generation during the summer. Do you think Lucy should return to Genoa City? Let us know in the comments section. Here are your The Young and the Restless spoilers for May 23, 2025. When Phyllis puts Amanda in a difficult position, Billy makes a promise, and Holden confides in Claire. Phyllis Summers could use a friend, given her recent travails, and she has one in the recently returned Amanda Sinclair. The redhead was practically giddy with excitement as she bounced into society when she and Amanda reunited. Amanda partially doused Phyllis's enthusiasm by asking her why she was reaching out to Aristotle Dumis, her new boss. On Monday's show, watch for Phyllis to put Amanda in a difficult position. We can only surmise that Phyllis is going to ask Amanda for some information on her new boss. If Amanda betrays her employer to help Phyllis, she could lose a great deal. Billy has partnered with Sally not only professionally at Abbott Communications, but also personally. On Monday, Billy's going to make a promise to Sally. Will it be to not go after Victor and Adam? We know that Sally is very good for Billy. She has his best interests at heart. Will Billy be able to make good on his vow? Holden is a bit of an outsider in Genoa City. Sure, he's got an ally in his buddy Damien. However, he's not making much headway with Audra, the woman from his past. A few weeks ago, we saw Nathan and Claire being friendly with each other at the Jazz Lounge. That dynamic is going to be touched upon again on Monday when Holden confides in Claire. Can she keep a secret? Holden is likely counting on that. Holden's a bit of a wild card in a few stories right now. He could theorize to Claire that Audra is out to ruin her relationship with Kyle. If he shares that, then Holden could face the wrath of both Audra and Victor. Martin's sudden appearance at the gates of Abbott Mansion has sent shockwaves across Genoa City, stirring up old memories, hidden secrets, and dangerous emotional undercurrents. According to recent The Young and the Restless spoilers, his return is more than just a surprise. It's a catalyst that threatens to unravel already fragile relationships among key characters. As the Abbott family prepares for a seemingly joyful reunion with Tracy and Ashley, the atmosphere quickly darkens. The party, intended to celebrate their return, becomes tense as whispers of Martin's reappearance circulate. While many guests remain unaware of Martin's past, those with skeletons in their closets grow anxious. His name alone stirs fear and confusion, particularly among individuals like Amanda, who is always alert to hidden agendas and powerful figures. Amanda turns her attention to Aristotle Dumis, sensing that Genoa City's tangled web of corporate power plays is shifting. With methodical precision, she begins compiling fragmented intelligence, covert meetings, phone calls, and behavioral cues to form a strategic overview of the emerging threats. Meanwhile, Phyllis stands at the center of emotional chaos. Though she masks her inner turmoil with confidence, Tracy's return forces her to confront old wounds. Tracy embodies the traits Phyllis envies: compassion, forgiveness, and emotional balance. While Phyllis harbors no ill will toward her, Tracy's presence reawakens unresolved conflicts and drives Phyllis into a spiral of instability. Phyllis's internal struggle intensifies when she comes face to face with Sally. Their relationship has always been strained by competition and deep-seated resentment. Sally, sharp and ambitious, acts as a mirror to Phyllis's darkest instincts. When Billy enters the scene, the dynamic worsens. Caught between past betrayals and unresolved tensions, Phyllis launches into a public tirade, accusing Sally of securing her position at Abbott Communications through manipulation rather than merit. Billy, caught in the crossfire, becomes a reluctant witness to the emotional breakdown. He recognizes Phyllis's outburst as a symptom of deeper psychological distress, but is no longer willing to tolerate her destructive behavior. The altercation escalates until Phyllis abruptly leaves, overwhelmed and emotionally fragmented. Martin's presence at the event continues to fuel speculation. Known for operating in the shadows, Martin rarely appears without reason. His involvement suggests looming revelations, potentially exposing secrets tied to powerful players like Aristotle Dumis, Ashley, and Tracy. Amanda remains vigilant, observing the intricate connections forming between Martin's return, the Abbott sisters, and Dumas. She understands that even the smallest misstep could unleash a cascade of consequences. As tensions build, Phyllis's mental state deteriorates. Memories of a past kidnapping, unresolved guilt, and feelings of inadequacy surface, causing her behavior to become erratic and unpredictable. Crimson Lights becomes another battleground. Phyllis confronts Sally and Billy once more, throwing sharp accusations that question Sally's integrity. Despite Billy's frustration, Phyllis refuses to back down. The encounter is brief but emotionally charged, highlighting Phyllis's inability to manage her growing instability. After the altercation, she departs in emotional disarray, haunted by fears that she may lose control completely. Though Tracy once saved her life and has always shown her kindness, Phyllis is overwhelmed by a sense of inferiority in her presence. She admires Tracy's strength, but resents the emotional vulnerability it exposes in herself. When forced to face Tracy directly, Phyllis softens, yet her anxiety prevents her from fully engaging, retreating into silence and avoidance. However, the same emotional restraint vanishes in confrontations with Sally and Billy. Unlike Tracy, they provoke Phyllis's defensive instincts, and she views them as adversaries. The confrontations grow fiercer, bordering on the violent, driven by a desperate need to assert control and reclaim dignity. Phyllis begins contemplating drastic actions. She envisions unmasking her enemies at public events or executing revenge schemes that could cross legal boundaries. In her mind, retaliation appears justified, driven by betrayal and the belief that she has nothing left to lose. As Genoa City stands on the brink of a storm, the lines between personal pain, power struggles, and emotional collapse blur. Martin's reappearance is just the beginning. The residents of Genoa City are about to be tested like never before as secrets emerge, loyalties shift, and only those with clarity and resilience will survive the emotional and political upheaval ahead. In a dramatic twist on the young and the restless, Cole reveals a dark chapter of Kyle's past to his daughter Claire, initiating a chain reaction that impacts multiple relationships and alliances across Genoa City. Driven by paternal instinct and haunted by past regrets, Cole investigates Kyle's background after observing his growing closeness to Claire. His findings reveal a web of troubling secrets, romantic entanglements, business scandals, and internal conflicts, shielded by the Abbott family's influence. Fearing for Claire's future, Cole decides to expose everything, hoping she'll reconsider her relationship before getting in too deep. Claire is devastated. Though she understands everyone has a past, the weight of Cole's revelations and Kyle's reluctance to be fully transparent shake her trust. She confronts Kyle, asking for honesty, but his hesitation confirms her fears. Heartbroken, she ends the relationship despite her lingering affection. Kyle, blindsided by the breakup, spirals into emotional chaos. He accuses Cole of meddling and confronts him aggressively, refusing to accept the end. Meanwhile, he leans further into a volatile dynamic with Audra, mistakenly believing he controls their interactions. Unbeknownst to him, Audra is executing her own strategy, one that serves Victor Newman's larger agenda. Victor's calculated maneuvering places Audra at the center of a plot to destabilize Kyle. Using emotional manipulation and orchestrated encounters, Victor aims to drive a wedge between Kyle and Claire, ultimately isolating Kyle from both the Abbott and Newman circles. Audra, believing she's gaining power, doesn't realize she's merely a pawn in Victor's game. As Kyle grows distracted and emotionally unstable, Claire turns inward, grappling with pain and betrayal. Meanwhile, Holden monitors the situation silently, preparing for future developments. Cole, though tormented by his role in the breakup, stands firm in his belief that the truth was necessary. Elsewhere, Nate remains devoted to Audra, unaware of her secret dealings with Victor. When the truth comes out, Nate feels profoundly betrayed. He demands Audra choose between love and ambition, forcing her to confront the cost of her ruthless pursuits. Victor continues to manipulate events from behind the scenes, aiming to eliminate threats and consolidate his power. Each character, Claire, Kyle, Audra, Nate, Cole, is pulled deeper into a complex web of ambition, emotion, and manipulation. The fallout raises critical questions. Can Claire rebuild her life after heartbreak? Will Kyle regain control, or is he destined to fall? Can Audra escape the consequences of her ambition? And will Nate's love survive the betrayal? As the storm of secrets and power plays escalates, one truth remains. In Genoa City, no move goes unnoticed, and every choice comes with a price. In the latest, The Young and the Restless developments, Summer Newman's storyline takes center stage with a mix of ambition, romance, and growing concern from her loved ones. After returning from Italy, Summer has quickly re-established her presence at the helm of her fashion company following the abrupt departures of key team members, Sally Spectra and Chelsea Lawson. Despite the professional disruption, Summer has handled the transitions with remarkable poise, expressing gratitude rather than resentment as she moves forward on her own terms. Summer's resilience, both as a leader and a mother, remains a focal point for fans. She's not only revitalizing her brand, but also catching the eye of a mysterious Italian designer. Their collaboration, first sparked at an elite Milan gala, has led to whispers of a budding romance. Yet Summer has maintained a professional front, praising the designer's creativity while skillfully deflecting personal inquiries. Amid speculation about her future, whether she'll remain in Milan or return to Genoa City, Summer's bond with her son, Harrison Abbott, remains unshakable. Regular video calls, weekend visits, and shared bedtime rituals reveal that no amount of glamour or potential romance can replace her maternal devotion. This emotional connection forms the backbone of her narrative, even as she balances personal fulfillment with professional ambition. However, as Summer's presence in Milan extends, anxiety begins to grow among her family, particularly Phyllis and Nick. Although they admire her strength and independence, subtle red flags have emerged: security anomalies, mysterious vehicles, and concerning behavior from her Italian companion. These incidents have stirred suspicions that Summer might be caught in a dangerous web far from home. Phyllis and Nick's fears are not unfounded. The possibility that Summer, as a high-profile Newman, could be targeted for her wealth and influence haunts them. They've even contemplated extreme actions, including an emergency rescue plan should their worst fears come to pass. Still, they place their trust in Summer's resilience and instincts, believing that she can navigate even the most uncertain circumstances. At its core, Summer's journey reflects a larger theme: growth through adversity. From rebuilding her company to exploring a promising but precarious relationship, she continues to evolve. Whether she chooses to anchor herself in Milan or return to Genoa City, one thing is clear: Summer's story is far from over, and her bond with Harrison will always guide her path. In a surprising off-screen twist that's bound to stir emotions among the young and the restless fans, it appears that Noah Newman and Ali Nguyen may have met a tragic fate. While their absence from Genoa City had already raised questions, a new storyline possibility is emerging that ties everything together. Rory Gibson, who previously portrayed Noah Newman, officially exited the show in 2023. His departure left fans wondering about the fate of his character and Ali, who had been developing into a promising couple. Without explanation, both characters disappeared from the canvas, leaving a noticeable void. The current speculation suggests that Noah and Ali were involved in a fatal car accident while vacationing in Italy. According to the rumored scenario, their car skidded off a cliff during a rainstorm, resulting in a crash with no survivors. This hypothetical storyline not only provides closure for their sudden exit, but also sets the stage for Rory Gibson's transition into a new role as Michael Corinthos on General Hospital. For longtime fans, the implications are significant. Nick Newman could soon be depicted receiving the heart-wrenching news of his son's death. Sharon would be plunged into grief, while Jack Abbott would face the unimaginable loss of his granddaughter. Such a tragic development would unify the Newman and Abbott families in mourning, creating emotionally rich scenes and deeper narrative layers. While the crash is purely speculative at this point and hasn't aired on screen, it offers a fitting explanation that maintains the integrity of the characters' arcs. Moreover, because the event is described as happening off-screen, the door remains open for future twists, possibly even a miraculous return, a classic move in the soap world. The storyline, if confirmed, will provide a dramatic pivot for both shows, a respectful farewell for Noah and Ali on Y&R, and a fresh opportunity for Rory Gibson in his new role. Fans are left to wonder, is this truly the end for Noah and Ali, or just another setup for a soap-style resurrection? Young and the Restless spoilers for May 26-30, 2025 see Audra Charles is launching a new scheme against Kyle Abbott, or maybe with Kyle. So we're going to talk about Audra, about Kyle, about Diane Jenkins stressing over Tracy Abbott's return and what she has to say, and some huge trouble coming at Nikki Newman's birthday bash. All right, so at the end of this week, we've got Diane and her son Kyle having a heart-to-heart, and Claire Grace Newman's a big topic they're discussing along with Audra. Right now, Jack, Abbott, and Diane are planning their honeymoon, the one they never had when they got married. They're going to be leaving town and are going to stay away for several weeks, unless something happens to mess that up. So we'll see how that goes. But Kyle getting into trouble while they're gone is a major source of stress for Diane. She's very worried about their son. Kyle, meanwhile, reassures her it's going to be fine. But what Diane sees is that he's getting all tangled up and obsessed with Audra again because of these cryptic threats she's been making about this cosmetics company startup, which I don't know why he even cares. Well, bad writing. But Kyle promised Mama Diane nothing with Audra Charles will cause a problem for Abbott while they're gone. But Diane also knows Claire doesn't want him getting close to Audra either, and it could mess up their relationship. So his mom is pressing, and Kyle admits to Diane that sometimes he feels like he's a lot like Victor Newman. Not a good thing, right? And he wonders if he can be the good guy that Claire wants and needs. And of course, Diane gets it. She actually says she has a lot in common with Claire, since they both have sketchy pasts and they've tried to move past it. She said that she and Claire have actually talked about it. And then Kyle admits that he also has to fight his darker impulses. But the bottom line, at the core of it, he hates having to be nice to Victor because of Claire, and he doesn't think this whole party thing and the grand gesture that she wants to make is going to make any dent. And I agree. So, at the end of this week's last episode, Kyle gets a text from Audra. And in case you didn't know, Victor did send her a little bit of the funding for her new company, because Audra convinced Victor she's making progress towards breaking up Kyle and Claire, but she is not. So Audra asked Kyle to come meet her for a drink. She has an idea to run by him. Diane sees the text message and she's worried, but Kyle says, "Look, I already know Audra's trying to set a trap, but he's going to go meet her anyway because he wants to know what's going on. He thinks he can turn this around, flip the script, use this as an opportunity for him." So next week, Kyle goes and he meets with Audra, who makes a proposal that she seems to think is going to be a win-win. Now, maybe she's selling Victor out, or maybe Audra's playing mind games with Kyle, or she's trying to team up with Kyle to run some sort of, con on Victor. And it's possible Audra might plot to slip Kyle a drug in his drink or something like that. Or Audra may come clean and tell Kyle Victor wants her to break him and Claire Grace up. Maybe Audra sees she can't do what Victor wants, and she's looking for some sort of workaround. I mean, maybe Audra thinks if she tells Kyle that he'll agree to do a fake split with Claire to try and out Victor and reveal what he's doing. Maybe she's going to offer to ally with him if the Abbotts fund her company or bring her company under the Abbott label, something. We'll see how it goes. Audra is always sketchy, and right now Nate Hastings has got a very close eye on her, and I don't think she's aware of that. And Audra better be careful or she's going to mess around and lose her man on Young and the Restless. So, also next week, as Jack mentioned, Tracy is coming home from New York. He also mentioned Ashley Abbott coming, but we haven't seen that confirmed yet. We just know that Beth Maitland is confirmed back. So this is the first time Tracy has been back to Genoa City since her lying psycho-fiance Martin Laurent was exposed as Sharon Newman and Phyllis Summers' kidnapper. And Diane is nervous about Tracy and Ashley's reactions to the makeover she gave to the Abbott house. So when Diane asks what she thinks, Tracy says the Rito left her speechless. Now that could be stunned silence because she thinks Diane did an awful job, or Tracy might be stunned into silence because of how great it looks. Very cryptic. Billy Abbott doesn't like it. He feels like Diane wiped away their father, John Abbott's presence from the house. But I think Tracy might be okay with it. Now, Ashley, on the other hand, might be the person Diane should worry about because she hates everything Jack's wife does. So we'll wait and see what her reaction is. And also, at the end of this week, Nikki has dinner with Lauren Fenmore over at the GCAC, and she's showing off the pretty locket that Victor got her as an early birthday gift. Then Lauren drops a bombshell and warns her that Michael Baldwin's quitting, and he went to tell Victor. And of course, Nikki's very worried because Michael the only person that reins in Victor's worst impulses. As we all know, Nikki caves and lets Victor get away with everything. Nikki is his top enabler, but you know, Adam Newman's right behind him. Victoria Newman's in there. Nick Newman's more likely to push back. But the whole Newman family really needs to just stage some sort of attitude intervention and get Victor under control. But then again, that may not ever be possible. So when Jack shows up and sees Nikki with Lauren, he agrees, yeah, Michael's doing the right thing. Nikki heads off to check in with an irate Victor. We'll see if she can talk him out of his temper fit, but I doubt it. He's upset he has lost his sneaky lawyer and top co-conspirator, Michael. And Victor's also angry because Audra's not done what she promised. Michael said the Abbotts rooted out all their spies and fired them from Abbott. So that has the mustache fuming. Claire's still dating Kyle, and now Michael has quit on him. So Victor's ranting at Nikki, and he tells her never say Michael's name again. I'm assuming Lauren and Michael are going to be at the party. So that's going to be a little awkward. And next week, that is the big shift of focus. It's all about the big party for Nikki. Now, Claire is supposed to be planning it with Victor, but it happens to be Victoria meeting with party planner Pietro, played by Queer Eye's Jay Rodriguez. So Victoria tells Pietro she wants this night to be special for her mom, Nikki, and promises Nikki's party is going to go down as one of Genoa City's most legendary events. Now, Pietro is probably right, but not for the reasons he thinks. It's not going to be for the discussion, the party favors, the punch, the open bar, any of that. I suspect Nikki's big birthday bash is going to set the stage for chaos. And that might be when we find out who Dumas is, if he's really Kane Ashby in a stunning recast, or if he's somebody else entirely. Make sure to check out our full weekly spoilers video tomorrow for the week of May 26th through the 30th, and buckle up for a bumpy ride next week on Young and the Restless. The Young and the Restless spoilers for Monday, May 26th, promise plenty of drama as the last week of May sweeps kicks off. Audra Charles and Kyle Abbott will head out on the drink date the brunette suggested during the Friday, May 23 episode, and it sounds like these two will slightly clash. Even though Diane Abbott suggested against it, Kyle will move forward and meet up with his ex. He's far too intrigued by the intel Audra is slated to provide, and as he explained during Friday's show, he wants to beat her at her own game. Despite the information Kyle is getting from Claire Newman, after all, word travels fast at the Newman ranch, and Audra was seen having a meeting with Victor Newman. Audra is still 10 steps ahead of the wet behind-the-eaters Abbott. He may think he's playing in the big leagues, but Kyle is playing pretend. After all, he's at where he's at in Jibba because of his last name. With that said, it looks like the two will head out to the GCHC Jazz Lounge and talk cosmetic company shop. But whatever Audra pitches to Kyle, he'll be willy-nilly about it all. In fact, during the Y&R preview, a clip is shown where Kyle seems very doubtful about a proposal Audra presents that she feels will be mutually beneficial. Is Kyle playing Audra? Will she see right through his game? Fans will have to tune in to find out. Speaking of Diane, she may be on pins and needles during the May 26 episode, awaiting the arrival of Tracy Abbott and Ashley Abbott. Fans may recall that while Kyle and Jack Abbott approved of the Abbott mansion renovations she took the lead on, Billy Abbott was not a fan. Billy felt as if Diane erased John Abbott's memory within the home with the changes. While he's since felt bad for his harsh feedback, Diane has been nervous about Tracy and Ashley's reaction. They are back in town at some point during the week of May 26 to 30, so Diane could have some anxiety awaiting their arrival and reaction to the decor changes in the mansion. The Young and the Restless spoilers suggest Tracy will be left speechless upon arriving home and seeing the Renos. So is this a good kind of speechless or a bad kind of speechless? The Young and the Restless spoilers reveal that Sharon Newman has been acting odd as of late. While she had an amazing time in Europe with Nick Newman and the kids, she doesn't seem to have the normal spark that Sharon has. The woman has been through a lot lately, but loved ones always need to keep an eye out for her, and even slight behavior changes due to her bipolar condition. Not to mention the fact that Sharon has been on tampered meds in the past, so it's not abnormal for anyone to worry about her if she's acting a tad strange. While Sharon does seem like a renewed woman, fresh off her Fam Jam getaway, something has clearly rubbed her the wrong way where Nick and Phyllis summers are concerned. She was clearly jealous when she caught the two hugging in the park recently, and was even bold enough to call Phyllis out regarding what exactly happened between her and Nick. On top of that, it was almost as if she was trying to rub in her European getaway with Nick to Phyllis. Nick, in turn, called Sharon out on being jealous during the May 20 episode, which she explained was only a concern. After all, she knows how Nick loves to be everyone's hero, and as Phyllis is struggling, it's natural for him to be drawn to that. Still, Sharon relayed that she was worried that Nick would get wrapped up in Phyllis' toxicity. Sharon's not wrong. Phyllis is reeling in the aftermath of her kidnapping. Plus, add in the fact that Billy Abbott gave her the boot from Abbott Communications, and Phyllis is down in the dumps. Nick loves being anyone's knight and shining armor, a role he usually plays for Sharon, so it's natural that he's there for his ex to lend a hand. It's also natural that Sharon would get jealous, but to the point where Phyllis and Nick see it seems off character. It's also out of character for her to pry with Phyllis. The two are getting along, but Sharon crossed a line of etiquette when she wanted to know more about Nick and Phyllis' interaction. One question also remains: why wasn't Sharon a little more traumatized by her kidnapping by Martin Laurent? She seemed to bounce back from it all pretty quickly. Was it because it was off the cusp of other back-to-back traumatic events? From learning she had been drugged by Ian Ward to her sewer lockup by Jordan, did Sharon consider her facility hostage situation the same old/same old, or is she burying her trauma deeper than Phyllis, with small red flags surfacing that may only get larger and larger until a full-blown mental health meltdown unravels? The Young and the Restless spoilers suggest that Sharon has always been a little bothered by Nick and Phyllis's bond, considering their romance was the very reason her marriage broke up. Still, could Sharon spiral with her mental health as she watches her hero try to save her longtime nemesis, and could disaster be on the horizon for her, along with Phyllis and Nick?